Welcome to Tokyo Wave, recorded in a live studio in Harajuku, Japan, with your hosts Aaron and Parker. Alright everyone, welcome to episode 121 of Tokyo Wave. We're your hosts Aaron Randall
and Parker Allen. On Tokyo Wave, we bring you weekly updates from our studio in Harajuku.
Join us in segments featuring this week's top news,
political happenings,
business,
and other random garbage.
To get us started, here are this week's top news highlights.
Japan's largest labor union to call for 5% pay hike, the highest in 28 years.
Japan ruling coalition agrees on acquiring counter-strike capability.
Tokyo men arrested over suspected pyramid scheme built on special eggs.
This week in Japan. Alright, to get us started, here's our first story. Japan's largest labor union to call for 5% pay hike, highest in 28 years.
Kyodo News has reported that Japan's largest labor union decided on December 1st to demand a pay hike of around 5% in annual wage negotiations starting next spring, the highest in 28 years, to catch up with rising inflation.
The Japanese Trade Union Confederation agreed to ask for the 5% pay rise, including a base pay increase of around 3%, and call for a minimum hourly wage of at least 1,150 yen, about $8, the same level as 2022 annual negotiations.
The request, the highest since a range of 5 to 6% sought in 1995, reflects tepid wage growth over the past decades in Japan that have hardly kept up with soaring inflation. Wage growth remains sluggish in Japan even after rebounding from a recent low of around 1.6% among major companies in 2003.
The union, also known as Rengo, had consistently called for a 4% pay hike in spring negotiations from 2016 to 2022.
Yeah, so they are going to get that extra 1% now. They're going in for it hard. So, Tomoko Yoshino, head of the union, while stumping in front of JR Shinbashi Station in Tokyo to promote the union's call to passers-by that day, said in her speech that, quote, "It is Rengo's duty to revive the economy by raising wages, which would boost consumption."
Workers won an average raise of 2% to base and seniority linked pay together in wage talks this year, according to the union. The figure compares with 3.6% jump in Japan's October core consumer inflation from a year earlier, the fastest pace in about 4 decades.
The Japan Business Federation, the country's biggest business lobby known as Keidanren, is considering urging their member companies, consisting of many major firms, to also increase their wages.
But it remains uncertain how far companies can meet the union's demand. The business environment has become increasingly difficult for many industries due to rising energy costs. The yen's slide to its lowest levels in decades against the US dollar also adds pressure on importers by lifting overseas purchasing prices.
Yeah, I wonder how this inflation situation is going to go. You know, the yen is now around 140, went up to 150.
Right. Pretty scary.
Only the Lord up above knows where it's going to go next. But uncertain times for Japan and for the world.
I think this is connected to the Bank of Japan and their current initiative with the ultra low rate policy, because they wanted to see wage growth, right? That's why we're kind of seeing this pressure, probably like, hey, we actually have to raise wages now, or this isn't going to work.
Boom. And of course, Governor Kuroda is like stroking his chin thinking, yeah, I was right all along.
Or he'll be ousted in April.
Up next, the Japan ruling coalition agrees on acquiring counter-strike capability.
Kyoto News has also reported that Japan's ruling parties have agreed that the country should pledge to acquire a counter-strike capability to address the rapid deterioration of the regional security environment.
The Liberal Democratic Party has advocated obtaining an enemy-based strike capability, while its junior coalition partner Komeito, known as a pacifist party, had been wary that such a move would constitute a major shift in Japan's exclusively self-defense oriented policy.
The capability which would allow Japan to fire upon and disable enemy missiles before they are launched from foreign territory remains controversial among legal experts, given that Japan has pursued pacifism under its war-renouncing constitution since 1947.
Obtaining a counter-strike capability is expected to be declared in the National Security Strategy, the government's long-term security and foreign policy guidelines, which is scheduled to be updated by the end of this year.
Following Diet approval, after the government declares that Japan has been attacked or an attack on a friendly nation represents a threat to Japan's survival, the counter-strike capability could be activated as a bare minimum measure.
Sounds pretty cool to me. Activate Counter-Strike.
I feel like we're talking about Counter-Strike the video game right now or something, you know?
Oh man, you're bringing back all these memories. Counter-terrorists win. Man, that was such a fun video game.
Oh, for sure.
The two parties have confirmed that using such a capability would be part of exercising the right of self-defense and could not be regarded as a preemptive attack.
Komeito approved the planned counter-strike capability at a party meeting after focusing discussions with the LDP on issues such as the conditions for utilizing such a capability and the potential targets for a counterattack.
Wonder what those are, Aaron?
Oh man.
Last week, Keiichi Ishii, Secretary General of Komeito, pointed to the need for a counter-strike capability in consideration of the growing security threats posed by nuclear-armed North Korea and China. Well, I guess that answers our question then.
Right.
I thought they were talking about Idaho.
I mean, hey, I think this is a long time coming, right? Japan having some kind of, defense set up in case something happens.
In case.
All right, and up next, Tokyo men arrested over suspected pyramid scheme built on special eggs.
The Mainichi has reported that 2 Tokyo men were arrested by the Metropolitan Police Department on November 30th on suspicion of running a pyramid scheme where they told investors that they would be paid to buy and eat special eggs.
This isn't crypto related, right?
No, it's special egg related.
All right.
There's no NFTs as the special eggs.
I just wanted to clear that up.
They didn't think that far.
Gotcha. The Metropolitan Police Department's Community Economy Division arrested Masaharu Minagishi, 58, a company head and resident of Tokyo's Minato Ward, and Masato Shiozawa, 63, of Chuo Ward.
Minagishi launched a pyramid scheme group in around October 2021 and is suspected of collecting a total of some 300 million yen, roughly 2.2 million US dollars, by targeting older people and others struggling financially due to the pandemic.
All on eggs. Wow. Okay.
Special eggs. They're special.
Special eggs.
Yes.
According to police, Minagishi used the business name Myoko Minagishi to promote his scheme, telling would-be investors at seminars and other occasions that it would, quote, provide stable income like the government's business support subsidies for those who are struggling due to COVID-19. He claimed that if investors paid 13,900 yen, that's about $100, a month for 90 eggs and introduced a new member to the circle, they would be paid anywhere from 25,000 to 1.6 million yen, upwards of 11,700 US dollars a month. Minagishi was the head of the circle, and Shiozawa is suspected of having worked at its executive office.
Yeah, it sounds like a pyramid scheme to me. So the pair have been arrested specifically on suspicion of using a pyramid scheme to collect a total of about 310,000 yen, which is around 2,700 US dollars, from 6 people aged in their 50s to their 80s between October 2021 and May 2022. Minagishi is reportedly denying the allegations, while Shiozawa is said to have admitted to them. Well, Mr. Minagishi, chances are you're screwed. Sounds like your lieutenant just turned on you, buddy.
Oh, man. You know, as gross as this is, it just proves that you can make an MLM or a pyramid scheme out of anything.
Special eggs.
That's crazy.
They're special.
Police say that the 10,000 or so people who have paid into the scheme, only around 20% have actually received eggs or been paid their share. Minagishi had people buy eggs from him for 150 yen a piece, claiming that they were, quote, highly nutritious, special eggs, though he had bought them for 15 yen each from a poultry farmer in Gunma Prefecture. The same eggs were common at supermarkets at cheap prices. I guess maybe he was in Gunma one day and looking at the eggs hey, I could make a religion out of that. Or in this case, a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, kind of like a religion, but with more special eggs. So the Metropolitan Police Department was consulted about the scheme in February of this year and raided Minagishi's company and other locations in May on suspected violations of the anti-pyramid scheme law, which sounds like a good law to have.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we have that law here in Japan. I can think of some other countries that might could use that law.
For sure. But MLMs here are so big. So I think as long as these guys play by the rules under MLM, they'd be fine, but they were obviously dumb. A 43-year-old Tokyo man who runs an event production firm and had paid into the scheme told the Mainichi Shimbun,
I joined thinking that I'd make some money from a side source to pay my employees' salaries after my firm's profit fell sharply because of the coronavirus, but all I've received are 45 special eggs and no payments. How exactly did they spend the money they collected from struggling people? I want them to take responsibility.
So like I said, this is really gross and disgusting that they did this, especially to people who were hurting from COVID-19, but
Special eggs.
this will definitely be in some Netflix documentary about pyramid schemes around the world.
But I mean, special eggs? Seriously? I mean, I hate to dunk on the people who, unwittingly bought into this scheme, but
Yeah.
I mean, sounds kind of fishy, these special eggs.
For sure.
Although these special eggs did not come from fish.
I've noticed pyramid schemes are really good with products and whatever services that are very nebulous and hard to find good data on. In America, Cutco had the knives thing, right? And who's the judge of how sharp a knife is, right? So it's easy to upsell that, right? And
These are the sharpest knives in the world. These knives are so sharp, you will be cutting yourself left and right.
You're gonna get addicted to cutting yourself, all right? It feels good. But water is the same, right? Here in Japan, I don't know if it's a pyramid scheme, but I've had Japanese friends walk into certain stores and they try to get him to buy these gigantic water filters for thousands of dollars.
Oh man, these things are so sketchy.
Have you been
Oh yeah. And then, the big shopping malls always have some people hawking these water servers.
Yes, it's so
And
annoying.
They do tests on mineral water and
Right.
all different kinds of mineral water. And it often turns out that it's pretty much the same as tap water in
Right.
a developed country.
But I've had a friend that came back to me after she was sold this idea. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I can't drink the regular water anymore. But this thing is so gigantic and it costs $5,000 to install. And I'm like, are you serious? But yeah, she was at a gigantic shopping mall and was sold the idea.
Yeah, it's like, is it a pyramid scheme or is it just a scheme? Sometimes it's just a scheme.
You could do it out of anything. You could do it out of clothes. You could say that all the other clothes are bad and have dangerous chemicals in them.
Yeah.
But our clothes are pure.
I think they already do that. It's called like sustainable clothing.
I'm sure there's something like that.
Well, I mean, what is sustainable clothing like? I mean, you can say that your clothing is sustainable, but you can't really prove it.
Parker, each time you buy a suit, you offset your carbon footprint because they plant a tree somewhere in the Philippines.
Word. Just, another day, another pyramid scheme in Japan, right?
For sure.
Listeners, this is not business advice. Do not start a pyramid scheme. It is not cool.
No way.
There's a law against it. It's called the Anti-Pyramid Scheme Law. What an easy to understand name. All right, and up next on Japanese Politics Wow, we're going to be talking about how Prime Minister Kishida has sacked the third minister in a month, leading to questions about his ability to lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Tokyo Wave.
Japanese politics. Wow. The Associated Press recently reported on how the Internal Affairs Minister in Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's government was forced into resigning over funding irregularities. In another blow to the scandal-prone cabinet that has already lost 2 ministers in 1 month.
Internal Affairs Minister Minoru Terada has been under fire over several accounting and funding irregularities. In one, he acknowledged that one of his support groups submitted accounting records carrying a dead person's signature.
So regarding this, Kishida said, "I apologize for the series of resignations. I'm aware of my heavy responsibility for their appointment."
Terada showed up at the Prime Minister's office and told reporters that he had submitted his resignation to Kishida, though he did not say when he was asked to do so.
Terada said, "I made up my mind because I must not interfere with parliamentary discussion or key legislations because of my problems."
Cough, and the Prime Minister made me do it. Cough. Terada, who has been grilled over this scandal for over a month, said his feelings were swayed between his hope to contribute to the Kishida cabinet while being concerned about causing trouble because of his funding problems. Yeah, the latter is a little bit more dire than the former, bro. You should have kind of resigned a little bit earlier. It would have really, led to a lot of less bad press.
Kishida summoned Terada to his office and had him submit the resignation, according to NHK Public Television. Kishida, when asked pre-dismissal, urged Terada to fulfill accountability, but did not defend him, and said he was going to make his own decision as prime minister.
Which is political speak for, he gonna get fired!
Yeah, exactly.
Kishida said he believed Terada submitted his resignation in response to the comment he made in Bangkok after wrapping up the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. And surprisingly, not because of something else that he might have done in Bangkok.
Terada said that he did not break any law, promised to fix the accounting issues, and showed determination to stay on. Opposition lawmakers said funding problems for the Internal Affairs Minister, one of whose jobs is to oversee political funds, are serious and demanded his resignation.
Yeah, it's not a really good idea to have the guy who's in charge of keeping public funds safe having funny funding documents.
Yeah, having too much fun in Thailand.
Yeesh. So Kenta Izumi, head of the main opposition party, the Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, said in a statement, his credibility was already lost and the resignation came too late, and calls Prime Minister Kishida's judgment and leadership into question.
Political watchers also said that Kishida's lack of decisiveness comes from his weak footing within the government party. They say Kishida, whose faction ranks fourth biggest in the party, needs to listen to the voices of three bigger factions, including one led by assassinated leader Shinzo Abe and heavyweights like Taro Aso.
Kishida has appointed Takeaki Matsumoto, a former foreign minister from Aso's faction, as the new internal affairs minister.
Recent media surveys showed the majority of respondents supported Terada's resignation, while the latest support ratings for Kishida's government fell to just above 30%, the lowest since he took office in October 2021.
Terada's resignation is a further blow to the cabinet already shaken by the governing Liberal Democratic Party's close ties to the Unification Church, which has been accused of problematic recruiting and brainwashing its followers into often making huge donations, often breaking up families and impoverishing its members.
Because Terada is a member of Kishida's own faction in the party, his dismissal is seen as an additional embarrassment and blow to the prime minister's grip on power.
Kishida had been considered as a safe driver and was expected to steer the country over the next 3 years without a scheduled election after his victory in the July vote for the LDP presidency, therefore making him prime minister, but his popularity has since nosedived over his handling of the party's widespread Unification Church ties.
Kishida also came under fire for holding a controversial state funeral for Abe, one of Japan's most divisive leaders, and is now seen as a key figure behind the LDP's decades-long cozy relations with the church.
Abe's friendly ties to the church, as well as of those among many LDP lawmakers, surfaced in the investigations into his assassination. The suspect told investigators his mother had made huge donations to the church, bankrupting his family and ruining his life.
Economic Revitalization Minister Daishiro Yamagiwa quit on October 24th after facing criticism over his lack of explanations about his ties to the Unification Church, starting what became known as a resignation domino of the Kishida cabinet.
Justice Minister Yasuhiro Hanashi was forced to resign over his remark that his job is low profile and only makes news when he signs the death penalty, only 10 days before Terada's departure.
I didn't know about this comment. Wow. What a thing to say.
Yeah, it's a little bit, what's the right word? Insensitive?
People only pay attention to me when I sign the death penalty. That's not going to get you far in politics.
Yeah, no. It'll get you hung.
Sounds like someone that works for Trump would say. And they'd be totally fine in America, you know? It'd just be a news blurb.
Build the wall.
Kishida's delayed decision in firing the justice minister led him to push back his November 11th departure for 3 Asian summits, sparking criticism from opposition lawmakers and observers for being indecisive and lacking in leadership.
Kishida returned to Tokyo after a 9-day trip and apparently faced pressure from his governing party executives to make a quick decision on Terada before discussions on key legislations.
Kishida's governing party needs to pass the second supplementary budget through March during the current Diet session, while also finalizing work on a new national security strategy and mid to long-term defense guidelines by the end of the year.
And there are a whole bunch of other laws that they're trying to pass in this Diet session, but every day passes, it seems like there's a new scandal, and it's honestly unclear how much of this stuff is actually going to go through.
Wow.
And so a lot of political pundits, honestly myself included, are a little bit worried about the future of our current prime minister. While Kishida was elected by his peers as the safe choice And for the first 6 months, which is kind of the honeymoon period in any prime minister's tenure, it seemed like that thought was correct. However, after those 6 months passed, and especially in the wake of this Unification Church debacle and this, continuing, domino of resigning cabinet members, it just keeps on looking worse and worse for Prime Minister Kishida. And so while he cannot be forced out of office by the Diet, because obviously, the LDP has such a strong hold on both houses, he can be pressured to resign by his peers within the LDP if his popularity gets into what is known as the danger zone. And the danger zone is below 30%. And so if he's around 30% right now, if it falls lower, he's in the danger zone.
He's right on the line. He's right on the line.
Exactly.
Right now. Yeah.
So if more bad stuff happens, and it just feels like more bad stuff is going to happen. I've heard rumors, and there's even a new tabloid article this week that even Kishida's own election finances have some strange irregularities contained within them. This could, be the end of the party.
Wow. Yeah, this is not just a domestic thing as well. Recently, I talked to people I know in other countries here in Asia, South Asia, and Kishida is kind of seen as being this indecisive, weak leader, which is kind of surprising to me that other people knew that much about the new prime minister. But people are paying attention, right? Japan's still the third largest economy. Abe was very popular. Now Abe is gone. Who's this guy that came in and took his place? Is he doing a good job? The yen is really weak right now. What the hell's going on with that? Investors worldwide are looking at it as well. So yeah, Japan is being looked at and scrutinized, not just domestically, but I'd say internationally right now, pretty hard.
Yeah, and it's quite strange considering that Kishida was seen as a strong, global leader because he had served for so long as foreign minister. However, you don't really see him standing out at any of these meetings or saying anything particularly soundbitey. It begs to question, what is this, prime minister going to do that is going to get him out of all of this hot water that he's in?
Yeah.
And of course, his keystone policy, this, creating a new style of capitalism, is still widely sort of unknown or sort of misunderstood by the public. A new form of capitalism, what's that, And his explanations on what a new form of capitalism mean are also similarly hard to understand, even if you're a politics expert.
Yeah.
I kind of, sort of guess I understand it, but it also seems like it changes. And so, I think that's due to, of course, his need to sort of couch a lot of his true intentions with the power balance within the LDP. And that's where I think, if he was a strong leader, he would be able to sort of rise above and really sort of, show using his communication power that, I'm the prime minister, I make the decisions. And he could communicate in a way that invigorates the public and gets them looking past this whole situation with the Unification Church, which Abe more or less successfully did with the, allegations that he was facing, several years ago around a sort of cheap land deal. Remember that?
Yes, I remember this. It involves his wife as well, too, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so he's not the Teflon Don that Abe was, and was also often called by the foreign press, which is a pretty kick-ass title, if you ask me. And it's hard to put your finger on if he's going to survive, how he's going to do it. So that makes you think, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Can he get out of this? And I don't think anybody knows the answer to that. So in absence of, some shining light of Kishida coming out of nowhere and, and somehow demolishing this public unpopularity, I don't see a clear path forward for his administration. And I don't think it'll happen immediately. I think we'll see a cabinet reshuffle, which could be big or small. And often prime ministers do a cabinet reshuffle to sort of, shift the ball, kind of make it look like, all right, new cabinet, nice and clean, and, no problems here. Look over there. There's a nice boy over there. And how about some special eggs? But that used to work better than it does now. And also, I think, Prime Minister Suga, who, despite being quite an effective leader, at least in creating policy, and a lot of the things that Kishida was credited for were actually things that Suga sort of initiated. He resigned after a year under, low popularity amid the pandemic. And, I think a lot of people thought that, okay, new prime minister, new policies, new ideas, fresh blood, it's going to reinvigorate the public and kind of get them into this post-COVID mentality. Lasted for about 6 months.
Right.
And so the other thing that prime ministers do when they're having a crisis at home is do a bunch of overseas travel and show their shining star in the global stage. And so Kishida's been doing stuff overseas. Even he announced, the opening of the country in front of the New York Stock Exchange. No idea why he picked the New York Stock Exchange to announce that, but he hasn't really talked about it since. And I'd like to call him out on that because a lot of people, especially people in the West, still don't know that you can get into Japan.
Right. So I want to bring something up real quick. This is basically, I want to bring up something real quick. When Trump won the presidency in 2016, the first foreign leader to meet with Trump was Abe. And Abe took a private jet. He wasn't even supposed to meet with Trump, right? According to like American law or something. But they had a, quote, secret meeting at the top of Trump Tower. It was Abe, his interpreter, Trump, Ivanka. Whether you like Trump or hate him, whatever. Abe doing that signaled to everyone, and they got reporters in too. There were like a bunch of papers. This is in New York Times, and everyone was like, "Oh, Trump's not allowed to meet with foreign leaders." Blah blah blah. None of that mattered. That was a huge and incredible PR move for Japan to show everyone like, "Hey, don't forget about us. I'm Abe. I'm the prime minister. I'm the leader of Japan. Let's." And I think I haven't seen Kishida do anything like that, right? Or him. He did the thing at the stock exchange, but I didn't see that in any publication in the U.S.
No, it's just the communication strength is just not there, and it's been a year. It's been over a year now, and with this popularity issue, my hopes are low. I hate to say it, but. It's if he is gonna get out of this somehow, it's gonna be really hard.
For sure.
And I would not be surprised at all if within the next 6 months we see a new leader of Japan.
For sure.
Which is honestly not the greatest thing, because continuity is very important, especially in foreign relations. And, global leaders got used to always seeing Prime Minister Abe, and he was a fixture at all these global conferences. And that really helped Japan's foreign relations achieve stability. And it also helps domestic policy when there's continuity. Mm-hmm. And of course, the LDP sort of guarantees a certain level of continuity. And some of Kishida's policies have sort of butted heads with that continuity, especially some of his more left-leaning ideas, such as freelancer protection and some other interesting ideas he's pushed forward. And so, like, this sort of new capitalism is sort of this hodgepodge of really socialist-style policies and expansionist, basically liberal, conservative, I don't know what you want to call it, but sort of, big top government, big spending, let's, rah, rah, bang, bang, bring Japan back again talk. Which the latter part is basically, music to everybody's ears, at least in Japan, but the former part is less popular within his own party. So that also does not give him any brownie points, especially in this low popularity situation. And we all know that Japanese prime ministers are judged on their number of brownie points.
For sure.
All right, guys, I want a brownie now.
I think I smell some brownies cooking, Parker.
Let's go.
Hey, listeners, that's right. You listener right there.
Who do you think should be our next guest on Tokyo Wave? Let us know. Drop us a line at wave@tokyowave.jp.
We hope you enjoyed Tokyo Wave.
If you haven't already, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube.
Join us again next week on Tokyo Wave.